Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. Also make sure you turn off the gas valve at the wall. In this video we're going to show you how to change out the GE dryer LP Conversion Kit. It's going to be a very easy repair and should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the instructions, the stickers that you have to place inside the dryer to say it's converted to LP, the air shutter and screw, the regulator blocker, and the LP orifice. The reason you'd be installing the LP conversion kit is if you're changing the type of gas that your dryer burns from natural gas to liquid propane. In order to install this kit, we have to open up the gas system. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, please call a technician. In order to get to the part, we have to take the dryer apart. First thing we're going to do is use our torque 20 driver and take the 4 screws out across the top of the console. Once you have the screws out, we're going to lift the console up and disengage the 3 tabs that lock into the top panel. And then you can just set the console on the back of the dryer. Then we can open up the dryer door and use our Phillips screwdriver to remove the 2 screws that hold the front panel to the top. Once you have both screws out, you can close the dryer door. To take the top off, we're going to lift it up and pull it off the dryer. Once you have it off, you can set it aside. With the top out of the way, we can remove these 2 screws. There's one on each side. It holds the front panel to the cabinet. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to take them out. Once you have the screws out, you want to make sure you hold on to the front panel. We're going to take it off in a minute, but you don't want it to fall off. To get the front panel off, we're going to carefully lean it forward so we can disconnect the door switch wiring harness. Once you have it down far enough, we have to reach down and move this shield. We're going to pull this tab out from the cabinet and then swing it out of the way so we have access to the wires. There's actually 2 wires on the switch that we have to take off, and we have to disconnect this union. All you have to do is unplug it, and then we can take the wires off the door switch. First one we're going to take off is the yellow with the red stripe. That's going to go on the top. If they're on there tight, you can use a small flathead screwdriver to pop them off. And then we had the white one, which went to the bottom one. Once you have those 2 disconnected, we can let go of the shield, and then we can lift the door off the mounting tabs. Now that we have the front panel off, we're going to take the drum out. In order to do that, we're going to take these 2 screws out on the cabinet and disconnect it from the support bulkhead. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to take them out. With the screws out of the way, we can reach in and take the belt off the pulleys. In order to get the belt off the pulleys, we're going to reach in between the drum and this bulkhead. You may have to lift it up a little bit to make some room. We're going to reach back and grab the idler pulley, and you have to pull it down towards the bottom of the dryer, and that'll make some slack in the belt so you can get it off the pulleys. Now that we have the belt off the pulleys, we can use it to lift it out of the dryer. You need to guide it out of these cutouts on the cabinet. Once you have it out, you can set it aside. With the drum out of the way, we have access to the gas valve assembly. We're going to take all the wires off first to get them out of the way. We're going to disconnect the coil plugs. All you have to do is pull them off carefully. And then we have to disconnect the igniter wire harness plug. There's a locking tab on one side. So we're going to use a small flathead screwdriver to release it and separate the wire connection. Once you have the igniter harness disconnected, we're going to grab this orange and black wire and just try to get these all out of the way as best as you can. Once you have the area clear, we're going to use a large adjustable wrench and disconnect the gas line. Once you have it loose, you can just unscrew it with your finger. Once you have the supply line off, you can carefully set it aside. Once you have the gas line disconnected, we can take our pliers and we're going to bend this tab right here straight. Then we can use our Phillips screwdriver to remove these 2 Phillips screws that hold the gas valve assembly to the body. Once you have those 2 screws out, we're going to push the valve towards the back of the dryer to release it where we bent that tab straight a second ago. So we're just going to push it forward a little bit and then lift up on it and then pull the assembly out of the dryer. When you're pulling this out, you want to be very careful that you don't damage the igniter or bump it up against anything and break it. Now that we have the gas valve assembly out of the dryer, we're going to take it apart. Remember, as you're moving this around, you want to be very careful of the igniter. First, we're going to take the burner tube off. We're going to use a Phillips screwdriver to remove the 2 screws that hold that in. Once you have the screws out, you can lift the burner tube out and just set it aside. We're going to work on that in a minute. And then we need to take the valve off the bracket. So we're going to turn it over. And there's 3 screws on the bottom that hold the valve to the bracket. Once you have the screws removed, you can lift the bracket off and set it aside. With the valve off the bracket, we're going to remove the natural orifice. We're going to use a 3/8" wrench and take it off. Once you have it loose, it should spin pretty easy. You can just unscrew it with your hands. Once you have the orifice out, then you can set the burner and the valve aside for a second, and then we'll put it all together. Here's the old natural gas orifice next to the LP Conversion Kit. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at appliancepartspros.com. Before you put the LP kit into the dryer, we're going to look over the instructions. You want to make sure you follow everything along. You want to make sure you look at your valve numbers and make sure it's compatible with this kit. On our valve, the numbers are right here on this sticker, and you can see that they match 25M01A, and you can see that the part number matches. The part numbers on the valve is way at the bottom. The last 3 digits of the part number don't matter. It's the first part that does. So you want to make sure that you're putting the right kit into the right valve. And then once you have followed the rest of the instructions about taking it out, like we just showed you how to do, we can flip it over to the other side, and you have to look at your burner. We already took the burner apart. It tells you to take it off. There's 2 types of burners. There's the type of burner that we have here, type B, which just has a hole right here, and it doesn't have anything that you can adjust. The type A burner has a slot, and you can adjust this metal insert that goes in here, so it's half open. When you change it to LP, it goes from the normal fully open to half open. So if you're changing yours, you want to make sure it's half open like this. On ours, we're just going to put this insert into the burner and attach it so it's half open. So you need to look at what style you have and make sure you adjust your air shutter properly. Once you know what type of burner you have, then you can know which instructions to follow. The other stuff is pretty much just swapping parts out, which we're going to show you in a second. The other thing they mentioned a few times is making sure they have proper pressure in the system. We can't show you how to test that or how to do that. That's up to you to make sure that you have the proper pressure in your system. The last thing on the list is the labels. You want to make sure that you fill those out and date them properly and put them where the instructions say, so that anybody who works on this dryer in the future knows that it's been converted to LP. Now we can change everything over on the valve. First thing we're going to do is put in the number 55 orifice. All you have to do is screw it in and tighten it down. We're going to use our 3/8" wrench again to snug it down to make sure it doesn't leak. And then we're gonna flip the valve onto its base and remove this plug right here. What we're gonna do is take a flathead screwdriver and unscrew this. And then we're going to take the regulator blocker. That's the other brass piece with the long white pin. This is what sets the pressure regulator to LP, liquid propane. And we're just going to put it on and tighten it down. Once you have that blocker tightened down, just a reminder to save these somewhere, the old orifice and blocker. So if you ever want to go back to natural gas, you have these on hand and you can change it over. Now that we have the valve changed over to LP, we're going to pull it out and bring the burner tube in. Just like the instructions say, if you have the type that is adjustable and you can turn that piece in there, all you have to do is loosen up the screw and do that. We're going to put this piece in here and line up the screw hole. And then we're going to use our 1/4 inch nut driver to put the screw in place to hold that in. Once you have the burner tube put back together, then we can put the whole valve assembly back together before we put it in the dryer. To put the assembly together, we're going to set the bracket down carefully again. As always, you want to be careful of that igniter. We can set the burner tube on and line up the holes and grab the screws in our Phillips screwdriver and tighten them down. Once you have those tightened down, we can set the valve in place. Remember that the orifice has to go into the opening. It's a little bit tighter than it was before when we took it off, but you should be able to get in there no problem because it just went into the big opening before. Once you have it in place, we're going to turn it over, holding it all together. And we can line up the screw holes and put the screws in. Once you have the assembly put back together, we can reinstall it in the dryer. Put the gas valve assembly back in the dryer. We're going to feed it into the opening and down into the burner tube. Once you have it into the burner tube, we can set it down onto the support bracket right here and pull back a little bit and set it on the frame right here. Then we can grab our pliers and bend this tab over a little bit so it holds it in place properly. Then we can come up front and use the Phillips screwdriver to put the 2 screws in that hold it to the bulkhead. Once you have the screws in, we can reconnect the gas line. It may have slipped back a little bit while you were taking it out, so all you have to do is pull it forward a little bit and line it up with the gas valve. Once you have it in line with the gas valve, you can swing it over and tighten down the nut. Once you have it snug down, we're going to grab our adjustable wrench and tighten it down. Now that we have the gas line tightened down, we can reconnect the wire harnesses. First one we're going to do is the igniter. It's the white and the yellow and the double white. Can only go together one way, so match it up and press it together so you get a good connection. And then we can grab the wire harnesses and bring them back over the top of the valve. You can't mix these up. One has 2 terminals and the other one has 3 terminals. All you have to do is plug them back onto the gas valve. Once you have the wire harnesses reconnected, we're going to check for leaks. You want to take some bubble solution, maybe some soap and water in a spray bottle, and spray this area down and turn the gas on. And look for any leaks that might be coming out of where the gas is connected or the regulator blocker. Once you're sure there's no leaks, then we can put the dryer back together. Once you have everything put back together, you're supposed to operate the dryer and make sure it's a good blue-white flame with small yellow tails. And depending upon the type of dryer you have, you might have to do it through the access door, through the side hole, a hole in the front panel, or if it's like our dryer, there's actually a hole in the bottom of the dryer, and you have to look underneath there with a mirror in order to see the flames. So make sure you do that, and make sure you have a good solid blue-white flame. The sticker should go right here on the flat part of the valve. You want to just put it on here so people know that it's converted to LP. It's a little bit long, but stick it on there the best that you can. Now we can put the drum back in the dryer. You want to make sure that the shaft on the center of the drum goes into the opening. We're going to use the belt to lift it up and guide it back through the cutouts. Once you have it in place, you can let the belt down, and you want to make sure the ribs are against the drum. Then we can go down and put the belt around the pulleys. In order to put the belt back through the pulleys, we're going to do the same as before and reach inside and push the idler pulley down towards the bottom of the machine. Once you have the belt routed through, you can pull your arms out. We can use our Phillips screwdriver to put the 2 screws in that hold the support bulkhead to the cabinet. Now we can put the front of the dryer on. To put the front panel on, we're going to line it up and set it onto the mounting brackets. There's one on each side. Once you have it on there, we're going to lift it up. Once you have the front panel lifted up a little bit, we're going to swing this cover out of the way, just like when we took it out. And we're going to attach the white wire to the back post. And the yellow with the reddish stripe on the top one. And then we're going to grab the black one that snaps together and push them together so we get a good connection. Once you have them all reconnected, we're going to lift the cover back over and lock the locking tab into the side. And then we can lift up the front panel and put it up the rest of the way. Once you have the front panel up almost all the way, we're going to have to lift up the drum so it rides on the glides. Once you have the front panel up, then we can use our Phillips screwdriver to put the screws in from the back. With the front panel secured, we can put the top on the dryer. To put the top on, you want to make sure that this tab right here goes underneath the control panel bracket here on each side, and then when you lower it down, this tab right here is going to go into this opening. Once you have the top on and in place, we can open up the door and put the screws in to hold it in place. Once you have the screws tightened down, we can close the dryer door. Next, we can lower the console back in place, and you want to make sure that these 3 tabs go into the opening on the top. Once you have it set down, you can push it back into place, and we can use our Torque 20 driver to put the screws in. Now that we have the dryer put back together, we're going to open the door again so we can put the labels on the dryer. Before you put it on, you want to make sure you put your model number and serial number and the part number of the kit that you put into the dryer. Once you have it on there, you want to put it right next to the original label so that you know that it's converted to LP. The other sticker we're going to put down a little bit lower, but you still have to fill it out with the date and the kit number and your name and everything, whoever the dryer is. Once you have it filled out, you can stick it right down here by the lint screen. Now that you have the labels installed, you can close the dryer door, plug it back in, turn the gas back on, and check the flame. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.